Hello there, YouTube. Well, this is the 560 Engine Teardown part 2 of 4. And before I go any further, I want to do what's the most important thing to me, and that is to refresh my channel's page to see, and I have 1 more subscriber since my last upload. So here it is to my 34 subscribers. My 34th subscriber, hey, welcome. I hope you turn on notifications. I just realized I could do that. You know, there's a thing in there popped up today. It says, hey, you know, you can turn on notifications so you can know. I promise everything's going to be under an hour, so I got to get moving. I'm really trying to tighten things up a little bit. You know, I wander a little bit. I get it. All right, but hey, it's really important that I have subscribers because, you know, the first people I had as subscribers was family, and now I'm getting like some real people that's interested, and that's great. So, not that my family's not important, but, you know, all my subscribers are important. Now let's get to some dirty stuff. You know, this thing here. You know, the further I get into here, you know, the deeper I get. Ugh. And the more it costs me. So, hey, if you want to support me, I put a link. You know, I don't like doing this, but, you know, I'm kind of on a fixed budget, so. And this thing's already cost me so much. Since November, you cannot believe how much money I have spent. But if you want to help, if you can help, I did put a link to my PayPal. Right here, I'm going to list what the main topics are in this particular video. In the subject or in the description are hyperlinks, so you can click on any of these if you just want to get to a quick point. I'm glad I figured this out because it's going to help me when I go back and start putting all this stuff back together. I can see how I took it off. That's the big reason why I'm doing all this to begin with, right? So before we cut to where I left off in the last video, I just want to say that I've never taken an engine out of a car before, and I've never rebuilt an engine before. So this is how I did it. It's not how I do it because I haven't done it until I did it. So this is how I did it, and if you see something that isn't right, let me know in the comments below. So everybody can know what I screwed up. Be polite. That's all I ask. And hey, share with your friends. You know, I'd like to get this thing rolling because if I could have found something like this when I started this whole project, it would have helped me a lot. So the more we can build this up, the easier it will be for people to find it. You know, I'm going into detail. Some of this will really apply to just about any vehicle, I think. So, again, hey, thanks for your support and everything. Thanks again, and keep supporting me. Start lightening it up. Take off these valve covers and see what's inside. It's just a 10 millimeter. Not sure exactly how many we have. It looks like just 4. But I gotta look in here and see these guides. I think I'm just going to move that engine stand out of the way. These have copper washers, so you probably have to replace them. Mercedes will nickel and dime you to death. You guys got to look at this because it's beautiful. This is what I'm talking about. If this cam hasn't been reground, I don't know what to tell you. Because that is clean. This has a little something on it. It doesn't catch my finger though. And you can see those are all new guides. That's what I put in. Alright, that's a new guide, that's a new guide. We're still not going to be able to see way down in there, I think. I'm going to go ahead and take that other cover off. Just as beautiful. That's your cam. This is the only one that I see that had a little something, but it is not, it doesn't have any kind of a groove. I would say these are just excellent. Like I said, this, I can't feel it with my fingernail. It's just the look. I mean, look how nice that lobe looks. It's not, they're not rounded or anything. So this is where we gotta look down in there, right? And I'll bet you we're gonna see a broken guide down there. Somewhere along the line, we're gonna be able to see it. I'll get a light and we'll try. Yeah, no way I can do it. Can't see down there, can't see up it. How would anyone know if they have to replace their bottom guys? No wonder everybody says, oh, you don't have to ever worry about the bottom guys. No? It's only because you can't see them, right? Let's see if this is going to do any better. But I doubt it. I mean, we know that this one over here is okay. Right? I'm going to have to take apart this engine because I can't see. That's what it is, guys. You got to take apart your engine to see. Alright, so I'm attempting to put this on top dead center. And you would think that that's top dead center because, you know, it's pointing to the zero and everything. But it's not on the right stroke. So, because number one cylinder, if you had your cap on here, see, your cap goes on like this. And this is number one. So that means your rotor needs to be pointing in that direction. You also have these marks. Right. There they are. Okay, see that? Part of your pulley side, that's on the passenger side, and then you have a mark on the cap. And then you also have one on this side. But it also has lines. There it is. Can you see it? Right there. I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to be painting these lines. And then I'm also going to paint on the chains. You can see I painted on the sprocket when I originally did this. You can see that right there. I originally painted the sprocket. And I'll paint the chain so that way there we make sure that everything lines right up. Well, I'll just do it on both sides. That way there we know where number one is when we take this all apart. Not that it's going to matter all that much because I think everything's going to, I think we're tearing this thing all the way down. Alright, I went ahead and put some WD-40 on here, and all of my exhaust manifold bolts. These ones here I believe are 13 millimeter, and the ones underneath are 12 millimeter. Alright, I'm going to start with this here, 12 millimeter. For the EGR, these are 10. About it. I have to replace this EGR gasket. There's no lock washer or anything on here. 13 here, and pop these. That way there I can paint these two, make them look nice. Alright, So we've got a large, I should turn that around, kind of a large washer. For now, I'm going to actually place these in the order that I take them off. You can't really fit a socket in there. It would appear to be the same length and everything, so. Oh, the stud and everything came out with it. Just a nut that there's a washer up in there. Alright, that should be about ready to come out now. I mean, it's right there. Come on, really? There we go. Alright, there's a couple of pounds for you. That gasket's going to have to be replaced. Over here for now, those cylinders look like they're firing really nice. I'm going to put these back in for now. Alright, now I'll go over to the other side and do the same. I always like to break it by hand. Gives me an idea of how things were put on. This one here was actually loose. This one also had a stud pull out. Closer look at what we just did here. So let's see if we see anything. I don't see like any massive. Let me get a light over here. There's your, you can see your valve up in there. So these would be your exhaust valves, right? So this one here looks oily to me. In comparison, well, this one looks a little oily too, but we do know we had a bunch of oil leak. Other than that, well, I don't know if that's anything. We know we had all that oil. Okay, so, you know, what I would see in there, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm looking for. So, that one. I don't know, with that I see kind of oily. That probably tells me that maybe I have to do a valve job, maybe? I don't know. 13 millimeter. This 13 millimeter and this 13 millimeter. Actually, that's a 12. These bottom ones are 12s. Wow! Oh God, you know, all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, I'm loosening the, you know, the main thing, right? Gosh, it scared me all of a sudden. I thought, oh my God, it's gonna fall on me. You know, and it could. That's why you should be careful here. I'm stuck behind here. If this thing falls, I'm done. Well, let's take out these 12s first. These are long bolts. This has got 2 washers on it. So it's got 2 washers. This one here only has 1 washer. This one here is shorter. This one here is shorter than this one. The one with, oh, this also has 2 washers, but they're smaller. So the shorter one with smaller washers go into the bottom of the bracket. That thing will swing down there. That has 1 single washer on that. Yes. There we go. And that one there has just one washer. Alright, now here's what we've got to pay attention to. Alright, I have 4 shims. Okay? So we'll set that here. We're going to mark our own. I'm going to put a mark here, and this is removable paint, so we have to be careful.
Side?
Yeah, I'm going to, well, I'm going to try. I think it's coming out, right? Now the whole thing's loose. It's a water-based paint. Alright, let's take this off. Oh, that's heavy. Oh, look, and I marked it on there, so that is still in alignment as well. Okay, so we can take a picture of that. Now, I want to point that out, you know, that all we had to do was mark it in here. Because they don't tell you what you need to mark, but that's what you need to mark. Alright, we got this off now. Alright, so everything's on top dead center right now. And whether or not it's all going to stay there, I don't know. So I marked that there. Not that it matters. And then of course this is my mark here. And you can see it on the shaft. I just couldn't see it on that knockdown very easily. Now this already has a white dot, so I'm going to use it as a reference. We've already top dead centered everything, and I even marked my chains on here and checked my timing marks and everything. So we're at top dead center number 1. Even my crank has been lined up. So this is a 13 millimeter. Wow. It's a little tight, but it's not too tight, obviously. Of course, you know, your timing can still change because that distributor can go. See, this changes the timing of your engine. Okay, there's the gear. So that's what turns it, and it runs off something down there. I'm guessing this thing should have an oil ring, which looks like it needs to be replaced. It's got good grease on there.
There's a ring.
Yeah. It might be okay. Alright, well now we'll put something in that hole so we don't get anything in there. Okay, so we're back up on the stand, and I'm supporting the engine additionally with the front support. We're going to take this off. And it looks like what we can do to do that is there's going to be on each one of these injectors this little clip. That's what holds this into the injector down here. So that little, we'll take one of them off for every single cylinder. And then there are 4 posts. This is 10 millimeter. This is on the front, and then you've got one back here, right in there. And you've got the same thing on the other side here, right down there. And in order to get to that one, we're going to have to take this off. And then here's all your injectors. All right, so I'll be taking each one of those off. Okay, so I tried to take out all of these. Whoops, sorry. Where am I? Okay, this one here is stripped, of course. So I got to figure out what to do with that. All right, I've got all the other ones out. I'm not the one that stripped this. You can see that it's not like a recent strip. I just can't get any bite out of it. But I'm gonna have to take off this linkage right here. I have these little vice grips right here, and they kind of will fit right in there. Now you can probably buy a special tool, but I just put it behind there and just pop it off. And then there's a screw head this on the top of this over here. All right, so on this thing, there's a screw right there. So I know that you have to unscrew this. And the funny thing is, you probably can't even see, but there it is. But once I get my hand in there, you can't see anymore. But I'll be taking that off. And then I've already got all these out, all the 4, and I took this electrical connection off. And notice that there's 2 O-rings in here. 2 green O-rings. Alright. I haven't taken all these out on this one side, but they're all loose, so I'm going to finish taking them out as well. Oh, this one here I didn't, because you can't get to it. Yeah, because that pipe is like right over the top of it. So I'll figure out, and the same thing here. That's right, I remember now. You can't even get to these things. It's just, I don't know what the heck they do. Really? Why do you do that? Gosh, there's got to be a different way you can route that stuff. Alright, so for each one of those intake, or those injectors, that's what they are. And they have a washer on every single one of them. Alright? So, I'll show you how nice, you see what this looks like? For some reason that locks in there better than that expensive Allen head set I got. But, I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can or not, but it's rounded, so I'll be replacing this. Alright, so now you just kind of lift up on your injectors and they'll come off, they'll come away from your head. Our linkage is not going to be able to go with us. Something's not right about that thing. So this one right here. Still need to get that off. I just don't want that bottom one to turn, that's all. I'm going to take this top one off if I can help it. Man, I tell you, everything is so tight. Does it have to be that tight? It's ridiculous. It's just, there's no point in that at all. I'm telling you, no point in it. Oh, jeez. My God. There, so much easier. Now, does it all come off? Let's see what it is. Okay, there goes the front. Got this one over here I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting around. We'll get it. Sure. There we go. There's the injectors and this thing. Oh, I'm attached to A there. So let's set this here. Alright, so you see A, right? So this is the front of our engine. So I'm on the passenger side. So on A, like we know, you see how I went into the set, not the first one, but the second loop of that. Whether or not it belongs there, I don't know. Alright, we finally did something. We finally took off something. So I just set this on a chair for right now, but you can see, I don't think this thing was attached correctly. It should be gripping and helping this thing spin so you can tighten and loosen it, and then that's a lock, right? Once you get it there, then you would lock it over. But it's not attached. You can just, it spins, but it don't loosen it. So I had to get a screwdriver in here to help me loosen it. So I don't know what's going on with that. We'll see if we can get a new one of those. Alright, so this is how this thing lays in here. Okay. It's not hard or anything, so. You know this has been changed, and then I'm starting to look at the heads and stuff, and I feel like, you know, somebody's changed this before and most likely stripped these all out. So I'm scared to death to touch this engine. But this is what it looks like after you've gotten that far. After removing the mixture control unit, and I noticed I broke that. So, you know, that's what happens sometimes. So, we need a new one of those. Alright, So what I've done now is I'm getting ready to take off the intake manifold. It appears, you know, that there's just all these here, which are 6mm, I guess. These go all the way down. These ones here in the center go all the way down and connect to the block down below. I tried to spray some WD-40 up underneath to try to get to these as well, and I sprayed all the bolts just to help. So for all these, it looks like, you know, this tool here will work for all of them, right? Except this one, of course, which Mercedes had a choice on making this bracket, but they chose to make it so you have to buy a special tool, right? Or at least a different tool. This is a very common tool. Well, I looked everywhere and I can't find any torque specs regarding the intake manifold. So, but when we do heads, you know, we start from the middle, I believe, and we work our way out. So I'm going to take it off by working my way in. So one thing I know I have to take off is this unit right here. So, because I need to get to that bolt down there. We're going to take this off as well. So, it's ready. I will get to it with that. I've taken this one out here, and then this one, so this thing's loose. I mean, this is not complete, but I have this to deal with, so I wanted to take this out first, because that's, or I can take it off here. Take this one out. There is no washer on this one. There's no washer on that one, but there is a washer on this one. This other one right here, so I don't know. 7mm, so I'm going to loosen up the water pump from the water pump here. About like that. That's nice and loose, so I'm hoping I can break free from that. So I covered that so stuff don't go into there, because that's, I don't know, it's gonna go somewhere, right? So we're gonna have to document like the length, right? Label it as intake, just to make it easier for me to put the bolts right back in the way that I took them out. I pretty much have all these ready to go, so I want to inspect each one to see if there's anything odd about them. Okay, it's not rusted, it's kind of dirty, but everything looks fine. And then we'll put these pieces probably in that box. There we go, looks okay. Alright, this one does have a washer. So it goes washer and then bracket. And then we'll remember what that bracket is. That's the other lifts side. So we get these two lifts in the right position, right? There is no washer on this, and there's no washer on this other one either. There we go. To the outside edge here. This does have a washer. Washer. It appears that all these have washers. This doesn't have a washer, it's using the linkage. So this has sealant on it. Alright, let's go ahead and take out this one. A lot longer than you think, huh? Okay, let's start with this one here. There is a washer there, I think. Nope, just the block, but this has carbon on it. Washer. washer, washer. Oop, I had the washer. There we go. Oh, there we go. Clean. Clean. Washer. This has a washer as well. You can see it's a long bolt. Another long bolt. Okay, so that's all the bolts. But now we have this spring over here. Right here, which is attached to this bracket. So it doesn't have a lot of tension on it, so I think I can just pop this off. There's the spring. Top and bottom look fairly identical, so I don't think it really matters which direction it goes on. This bracket, I want to show how it's layered here, you know, in what order. This one here with the Bowden cable, I think is what that's called, the Bowden. That one there goes down at the bottom, or is it the bottom? No, it's the top. All right, it's the top, and then the bracket for this one is in the middle, and then the one on the bottom is this main bracket here. So, oh, they both have that same kind of wrench. So maybe it is the right one. So in my particular case, I have 13 millimeters, we'll see. But I was hoping not to have to take that stuff off. So we'll put, for now, I'm going to put this by the box. And don't tell me you have to take it off down here. Because even though that's loose right now, it don't move. Alright, so this has to go that way, but I don't want it to turn the one on the bottom. So I'm going to stick this on that one. And I will hold that way, and then take this one and take it that way. There we go. This must be one of the critical points because I see it's painted yellow. So whatever this is, it's like critical. Now we want to just take that out of there. And I'm going to keep that in my box of intake, right? Everything that I might take off of here, off the intake, should go into the intake box. I'm going to try to use like a board maybe in the back here because there's a nice cavity in the back, and I think I can just get this in there and go ahead and lift it or something. I don't know. Seems like it can't. Oh, yeah. So, you can hear that, right? We're going to get ready for a reveal here. So I believe everything is now nice and loose. So she's coming. I see this bottom thing comes along with it, which I didn't realize, so I've got to make sure that things are coming apart. And not, you know, getting torn apart. But I see that that thing's actually coming with it. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Seems like there's still something connected. Well, we know this is. Is that the only thing? It would be nice if that's all. Might be. Okay, well, let's try to bring that back. Let's see if she'll come off. We're close, man. We're close. This side still feels tough. Is it not because of that, right? Oh, I don't know if that's attached to this or not, but there's a little nut over here. Maybe I should take that off. You know, for the EGR that's on the block there. It's just one of these Allen head clips. I don't think so, but you know, I don't know. It is. Oh, it is. That's what it was. Didn't realize. So now that thing will come out. Woohoo! Guys, oh, I got a vacuum, or that electrical one here. I don't want to put that on the heads. Let's just set that like that easily. This little thing here kind of got stuck on something. Let's put it over here. Alright! Ta-da! Look at that, guys. That's what the bottom of these guys look like. So, yeah, I'm glad I took it apart. You'll see why I feel that way. Let's take a closer look. I don't know if it's possible to see in there or not. We'll see if I can make this work. There we go. I think that's probably good. So, it's black like around there, but look how clean the inside looks though. The inside's pretty clean. The valve doesn't look bad, but I noticed like that valve looks, that valve looks wet in comparison to this valve, which almost looks rusty. Right? So these are all intakes, so why is that intake so wet? And then I see a lot of carbon right around there. Right, that little water jacket hole looks okay. There's that valve, that looks fine. The intake valves for the most part, I think. That one there's pretty deep in there. But not bad. Again, a little bit of carbon around that, but that water area looks okay. This looks fairly clean, so yeah, I think it's that one. Can't really see down in it, but I want to look at this other side. Look at that. That's pretty much plugged up. But I have no idea. All I can do is just hope that you can see inside there. So, you know, on the inside part, this doesn't look too bad. And it's not real filthy in here either. I see that there's a washer that we can have. Some parts you can even see, you know, I mean not parts, but, you know, I guess plastic stuff. Alright, so that's how you take off your intake manifold, but look, all that's got to be cleaned out. Look at that. That's... Ugh. So the manual says to loosen the neck down bolt. I'm guessing that's the neck down bolt of the camshaft sprocket while holding the camshaft with an open end wrench. And then they have this little blurred out picture, you know, that's impossible to look at. It looks like they have some special tool, but there's little tabs on the on the cam. I'm guessing that's what they mean, is that you would grab a hold of that with this right here. Right? Get it in your wrench. And then that way there you can hold this thing from turning when you do the crank bolt, right? This. Alright, so I've marked, I should point out that I have marked you know, the sprockets actually on both sides, really. I'll go on the other side and loosen it a little too. I wanted to show you what we're talking about here. These little tabs right here is what I just did. I held onto that and I loosened the sprocket. Now you see how I have my sprocket, and actually on this one I did it twice, and then I have it also on that one. I mean, you know, that's like double kill, right? And that's supposed to be non-removable acrylic paint. Well, hopefully that's all that happens, because those sprockets got to come off. I was really anal and I tied a little block to it. Some people say, you know, they lose their chain. I just thought I'd show you guys how I deal with that. And I did it to both sides, and you can just tie it onto a little piece of wood to hold your chain so it don't go through. So, well, there's no specific instructions. Okay, so this is what you have on this right here. You've got a flat washer and or spring washer, and then a heavy flat washer. Well, I just tested it with a little bit of a rubber mallet, so it seems like it'll come off, and the chain is kind of loose. I mean, not loose, but it looks like you can do it. Okay. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. That might loosen it enough. Well, actually, that probably won't do anything. So I give you this great tip, but can I get it off that sprocket? I want to go this way, maybe. There we go. Alright, there's sprocket number one. Let's not mess up those timing marks. Alright, we got this timing marks we don't want to mess up. If I can get out of this side here. There she goes. You see what I mean? You see why you want to hold on to that? Because that's what's going to happen. Alright, so there's our sprocket for the other side. Okay, but you saw how that chain went in there when I just popped off this other one. That's why I left the camera over there, because I thought that's what would happen. Alright, so now we can start working on the heads and taking them off. Now, in order to take the heads off, you have to remove this slide rail here. And I have this nice cool tool, and I'll show that in more detail, but you see it's kind of notched right there, so that little notch will actually cut out so this thing can fit flat up against the head. You tighten this down and you make sure that your thing's all the way in, and put this against the block, and you bring this one down. Make sure that it's nice and flat against the block here, and then you just take your wrench. I'm not sure what size that is yet. Just take your wrench and tighten that up, and that pin will just slide right out. It's a lot better than using one of those slide hammers. I bought that tool years ago. There's no marking on the tool, but it's available somewhere. I bought it. But you see that says 86? Well, my car's an 87. So that tells me that this is that someone's taken the engine down this far, at least, because this is not the original head. I don't think Mercedes would stamp it that way. I don't know, but I would say no. But I was getting ready to, I'm just kind of doing an inspection, and I look inside, and everything looks nice and clean in there. I've already taken this guide out, this tensioner, and changed that already. So, but then I want to go on this other side. This is the original. So at least I would say it is the original. At least it's an 87, right? Now, let me see. Oh man, I banged my head on this hoist a million times. At least a million. Alright, let me see if I can hold this. But do you see how that's all chewed up right there on that aluminum? I'm saying that they probably threw a chain, guide or whatever, but it ended up throwing the chain. They popped it out of timing or whatever and ended up trashing that other head. I don't know exactly what they did to the other head, but that's the 1986 head, and this is my original, and I see damage to that wall over there, so my guess is that that's what happened. And those pieces of the guide that I found are going to be what the hack mechanics left behind. I bet you everything up front's just fine. I'm going to end up taking this thing apart and take that front cover off and everything, and I'm going to find that the guides are totally intact. That's my guess, because this is my rabbit hole. This here is a 13 millimeter. There's just two of them. One on the top, one on the bottom. I'm going to just loosen it to get a feel for what's going to happen here. So, because I can't remember. Alright. But I can easily hold it in. It's not going to explode or anything, so. But you don't know, right? You never know when you take things apart. I took a transmission apart one time. And springs and things just went everywhere. I'm going to keep these bolts look identical. Make sure we don't drop anything. Okay. A little bit of oil will leak out. I'm just going to dump some oil just so it don't leak on the floor. And basically this is what we have. So it's just a piston. So there's a gasket here, which of course was brand new when I put it on. But we have to change it. So this is how it works really. It's just right. This is nice and smooth. It's not dragging or anything like that. Alright, I'm going to show you how this tool works, and I'll show you what we're doing. So the way the tool works is that you just thread in that right into that, right? And then this thing here, you see how it's notched? It kind of rides right up against that block. It's made to actually fit that. So you turn this in until it gets kind of tight, and put that right up against it, and bring this other one in. And this is both 14 millimeter for this particular tool. But you see how that's going to lock in there, and then this thing will lay flat up against the block. And it's as simple as just turning this. So what we're doing is we're just pulling out that pin. Now normally, you know, you don't want to drop that pin, or I'm saying the guide. You don't want to drop your guide down in there, whether you're just doing these guides right now. You could be doing this. That's what's nice about this. You so easily do this in the car with this. I did it, so it was easy to change these slide rails. The chain was more difficult, and you need a special tool, and I have one of those, and I was able to do that, but all that was wasted now, considering you know, we're taking this whole thing apart. Maybe, I don't know. So far we are. We're going to definitely be pulling that pin. We're going to look it down there as much as we can on both sides and see what it is. But that's basically what we're doing. And then we've got two. There's one here, and then there's one down here as well. So those are the two areas that we're going to be pulling out. Of course, it's really easy if you have one of those ratchets. I have one. I don't know why I didn't use it. But it's just as simple as just tightening this inner one out, and then it just pulls that pin. With no problem at all, as you can tell. And that was it. That pin is now out of the top rail. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of leave it there. Or maybe I'm not. Because I cinched it up a little too tight. But now we can get to that other rail after I get this off of here. Alright, so now I'm going to do this side. Just like the other one. It's a great little tool, isn't it? Can you imagine you banging on it with the little slide hammers? This ensures it stays flat. You're not bending anything. There's that one. This one here is a little bit harder because of the way it's in there. Because you got two pieces, but it fits. I've done it. It will work. It's a coming. And again, you don't want to drop your guide, so I'm going to go ahead and get my chain out of the way. I just want to keep these things out of my way here. There we go. Then I'm going to grab a hold of this and make sure that I got a good hold of it. Some people use vice grips to hold the guide. Here we go. And again, long side down. Right, the long side goes down and the short side goes up.